Dear friends, today is Yom HaShoah, the day on which we remember the 6 million Kedoshim, 6 million precious men, women, and children, shenergu, v'shenisrafu, v'shenitbechu, v'shenechnuku al Kiddush Hashem. 6 million precious souls who were murdered for the singular crime of being Jewish. And although we have a day already marked on our calendar in which we mourn the Holocaust and in which we mourn every Jewish tragedy and catastrophe over the last few thousand years, the 9th of Av, Tisha B'Av, a day in which we collectively mourn everything which has befallen our people since the destruction of the first Beis HaMikdash, and the truth is even earlier than that, dating back to the Chet HaMeraglim, the sin of the spies. We have a date on our calendar that is dedicated to mourning, to reflecting, to introspecting over the tragic and overwhelming losses that we have endured over the millennia. Nevertheless, if the world is remembering the 6 million on this day, then it behooves us to do so for a few moments as well. And when it comes to the Holocaust, a tragedy of such epic proportions, the mind has difficulty processing it. And it's hard to understand what is it that we're supposed to take from this tragedy, because as Jews, we're like pre-programmed to learn from every experience, to take lessons from the good, to take lessons from the bad, to somehow use every circumstance and situation of life as a platform and as a catalyst for personalistic, communal, and national growth. So what do we take from the Holocaust? And of course, the mind immediately jumps to the most profound of theological questions. Tzadik v'ralo. How was it that the righteous suffer? But we know, because we've been asking that question for longer than anyone could count. Moshe Rabbeinu asked that question when he comes to Paro, and he says to Paro, delivers the message of God, let the people go, it's time for freedom. And Paro responds with 2 words, Tichbad ha'avoda. Let the work get harder. If you have time to dream about freedom, then you have time to more work. And Moshe Rabbeinu turns to HaKadosh Baruch Hu and he says, Lama hari osa la'amazeh, lama zeh shelachtani. Why are you doing this to them? And the Mefarshim, the commentaries point out that Moshe Rabbeinu was asking, Tzadik v'ralo, why do bad things happen to good people? That was the question that Moshe Rabbeinu was asking. And Moshe Rabbeinu asked it, and yet he didn't receive an answer. And certainly, we're not going to find an answer to that most profound, important, yet complex and confounding of questions. HaKadosh Baruch Hu runs the world. And often he runs the world with calculations and with a profound plan that no human mind can possibly comprehend. And certainly, when we try to understand the why of the 6 million Kedoshim, there's no answer that at least is humanly, intellectually digestible. There's no reason that you or I could proffer up to somehow explain the death and the butchering of innocent, beautiful, holy neshamas. So therefore, the question is never really the why. The question is the what. What do we do with it? So in this Yom HaShoah, I would put forward a simple message. What we have seen from the Holocaust, and the truth is what we've really seen from every Jewish tragedy beforehand and afterwards, even though nothing matches the scope, the profundity, and the horror of the Holocaust, is the resilience of the Jewish spirit. What we see emerge from the ashes of the Holocaust is a reluctance to give up. Rabbi Nachman says, Ein shum yeyosh ba'olam klal. There is no yeyosh. The Jew doesn't despair. The Jew doesn't give up. And we know this. We know this. But the truth is, no time in our history has this been clearer than the last 100 years. It's been less than a century since we were systematically murdered and butchered and exterminated. And yet look at the resurgence of Jewish life. Look how we have rebounded. Look how we have rebuilt. Look what we have done in the decades since Hitler, Yamach Shemo V'Zichro, and his legions tried to stamp out the identity of Klal Yisrael. Look at our communities, look at our shuls, look at our yeshivas, look at our chesed infrastructure, look at all we, the Jewish people, are contributing to the greater community around us. Look at the values we espouse. Look at the tenets to which we adhere. Look what we have done in the last few decades. Look at what Eretz Yisrael, the state of Israel, look at the rebirth of Jewish life in our ancient homeland. Look at what has happened from the ashes. And here is the great lesson. We all know people, although the legions of survivors are dying out, are quickly leaving. And it's so important that if we have access to survivors, that we hear their stories, that we hear their legacy. But just understand, to sit opposite a survivor means to sit opposite someone who endured the worst that humanity could ever put forward, but made a conscious decision to roll their sleeves up and continue to live, continue to build. That's the koach, that's the strength we have as a people, that no matter what we undergo, we have the ability to roll up our sleeves, to continue forward, to continue living, to continue serving HaKadosh Baruch Hu, to continue being successful, to continue building and paving the way for the future generations. And you see it. We saw what unfolded with the D family. Hashem should grant them nechama with the terrible circumstances of a mother, 2 daughters being murdered. And we see the incredible Kiddush Hashem that Rabbi D and other family members are making with a sense of emunah, an intact emunah. Where does that? It's the same koach. It's the same koach to be able to emerge from the ashes and be able to rebuild. To me, that's the lesson I take from the Holocaust. The incredible power of the Jew. Our power as a nation to rebound and rebuild. Our power as communities to rebound and rebuild. But it also gives us the power as individuals. Embedded in each of our individual spiritual DNA is this same power, is this same resilience, and how much we need it. Because we each face our own challenges, be it in our personal lives, be it in our families, in our relationships, and whatever it might be. And sometimes we face circumstances that just feel too much to handle. A day like today reminds us there is no challenge we cannot meet. There is no circumstance we cannot overcome. There is no situation that we can't find a way to handle. It doesn't mean that we emerge unscathed. It doesn't mean that we don't wear the scars of our national and personal circumstances. But we need not get sidelined by anything that life throws our way. Ein shum yeyosh ba'olam klal. Like Rabbi Nachman said, but more important, Rabbi Nachman saying it. Klal Yisrael, we live it. That's the message of Yom HaShoah. That's the message of Tisha B'Av. It's the message of all of our suffering, all of our difficulty, and all of our tragedies. Whatever the world throws our way, Kadosh Baruch Hu programmed us with the incredible koach to overcome, to persevere, to rebuild, and to somehow find a way to be successful. And in the zchus of Eretz Hashem, tapping into that energy as individuals, as communities, and as a nation. May we be zochem Eretz Hashem to give the neshamas of the 6 million Kedoshim a beautiful aliyah. May they find rest tachas kanfei Hashchina. And may we be zochem Eretz Hashem to the great day, the arrival of Mashiach, Tchinas HaMesim, the resurrection, when all of Klal Yisrael will be together again. Wishing everyone a wonderful, meaningful, and uplifting day.